Joining us now with more insight into the relationship between the Koreas is Charles Armstrong, Professor of Korean Studies at Columbia University in New York. Thanks for joining us.
Nice to be with you.
Well, as our correspondents there mentioned last year, the similar exercises raised tensions considerably on the Korean Peninsula. We even had the DPRK threatening a nuclear strike at the time. But this year they appear to be toned down. No aircraft carriers, no strategic bombers, nothing like that. Is this to placate Pyongyang's concerns?
Well, there's been restraint on both sides, which is a very positive thing. North Korea has toned down its rhetoric, although it's still very critical, and the U.S. isn't sending its B-52 bombers and B-2 stealth bombers and so on. And while this is going on, there are the first family reunions, as we've heard, in over 3 years between separated family members in North and South Korea. So I think both North Korea and South Korea, as well as the U.S., are trying to move toward a more conciliatory posture, and this going forward might be a very good sign for improvement in inter-Korean relations and also easing of tensions between the U.S. and the DPRK.
Right. What is the point of these exercises?
Well, these have been going on for a very long time, since 1976, and the intention, both South Korea and the U.S. say, is to show the strength of the alliance, the deterrence of any invasion from North Korea. But, of course, the North Koreans have consistently said these are really practices for an invasion of North Korea and have been extremely critical of them ever since they began.
Would they not be seen as provocative by North Korea? I mean, if we look at a similar situation taking place in another part of the world, I mean, would it be acceptable to the United States if North Korea conducted exercises, say, with Cuba off the U.S. coast?
Well, that certainly would not be the case. It has to be remembered, the scale of these exercises involving land, air, and sea entities. These are the largest regular military exercises in the entire world, ostensibly against this relatively small country, North Korea. So the North Koreans do see this as a provocation, and perhaps they have some reason to think that.
Right. I just want to look at something else, and this is what appears to be positive signs in this relationship between the two Koreas. The North recently allowed family reunions to go ahead. What does that tell us?
Well, it shows us that the North Korean leadership is serious about making gestures toward improvement of relations with the South. There was a lot of doubt about that, and relations between North and South Korea were at a very low ebb last year at this time. There was quite a bit of speculation that North Korea would cancel the family reunions because of these exercises. But the fact that they've gone ahead with it and also accepted, as we've heard, some medical assistance from the South indicates that the Kim Jong-un leadership is very serious about moving forward in improved inter-Korean relations. And the Park administration in the South is, it seems, as well.
And it appears one of the desires of the DPRK is direct talks with the United States. What's the likelihood of that happening?
Well, Secretary of State John Kerry was just in Seoul, and he said that basically nothing would happen unless North Korea got serious about denuclearization. So we're at a bit of an impasse with the U.S. DPRK relations. But I don't think the U.S. would want to be left out if inter-Korean relations, North-South relations, continue to improve. So although prospects don't look terribly good right now, it seems that if this momentum is continued, we may see better U.S. DPRK relations and perhaps some form of talks between the U.S. and DPRK in the not-too-distant future.
Charles Armstrong, thanks for joining us, sir.